Good evening. Welcome to Mental Health America's Back to School Wellness Panel. We are so honored to have our expert panel with us this evening to bring to you our 6th through 12th grade and beyond into college, a focus topic on emotions and what we're about to embark on as we start the school year. This evening is brought to you by several different partners: Ozaukee Community Therapies, Lakeshore Community Health Care, Mental Health America, Sheboygan County Public Health Department, and the United Way. Our panel this evening, as I go around and call out your name, if you could just wave your hand, is Frank Zimak. He is the lead path behavioral health counselor with Lakeshore Community Health Care. We have Aaron Perez, clinical director with Ozaukee Community Therapies. Libby Jacobs, lead health strategist with the Sheboygan County Public Health Department. We have Maddie Green, who has just graduated from North High and is just starting college. Congratulations, Maddie, and thank you so much for being with us this evening. And from Mental Health America, we have Rachel Lewinsky, Director of Marketing, and Trisha Erpelding, Director of Education. This evening, our moderator is Brianna Hoisterberg, Director of Strategic Planning, and she is also the PATH Coordinator for Sheboygan County. I'm going to turn this over to Brianna.
Thank you so much, Julie. First, I just want to thank everybody on the panel for being here. We really appreciate all the information that you're bringing to the table. A couple of quick items before we get started. This evening, we have 5 different topic areas that we want to cover to kind of help you transition into this school year and just throughout day-to-day life. I will be putting them in the chat below so you can follow along. If at any point you have any questions, you can certainly ask and post that in the chat area. And Rachel, who's on our team, will be watching that closely to help get you the answers that you need. Otherwise, we'll certainly email you back any answers. We will be recording this also, so that way we can post it, you can rewatch it or share it with friends and loved ones as well. We do have just a short 20 to 25 minutes together, so we're going to kind of move along a little bit quickly. I will be watching the time, but each topic will have a panelist that will be talking, but we're all going to jump in if we have anything else we think that you might need to know to help you out this school year. I think that's about it, so we will get started. Our very first topic item this evening that we will be talking about are just some helpful reminders that we can maybe utilize or remember as we ease into the school year. And to help us out with that is going to be the education coordinator, Trisha Erpelding. Thank you, Trisha.
Hello, everybody. Some of you might recognize me from visiting your classroom for different mental health conversations or mindfulness. And I'm so excited to be talking to you all tonight about how we can ease into the school year a little bit, because I know that when things kind of all started to happen in March, it was a very quick, school closed, we went virtual, and it was really difficult for all of you. Some of you, that was maybe the last chance for you to see your friends, and you're maybe feeling really excited to be able to see your friends again next week. Some of you are maybe a little bit nervous about, what is the school year going to look like, and what's going to be happening, and will I actually be able to see my friends during the day, and how am I going to learn with all these distractions? And I just want all of you to know that, things might be difficult, but we also all have a chance to really show each other how strong we are and how awesome we are, and how we are able to all work together to meet some of these challenges and to be able to kind of acknowledge all these different, tough feelings and things that we're going to be experiencing together. So, that, your class sizes might look a little bit different. Desks might be further apart. You might have, a different start time to your day than your friends do. There's going to be a lot of different signs and different, hand sanitizing stations and things like that set up in your buildings. And that'll be a little bit different, but all of those things are there just to keep you safe and to keep your teachers safe. Know that as we start the school year, it's so important for us to find a good routine, to make sure that we are getting enough sleep at night, to make sure that we are setting up a good schedule for ourselves on those days when we are going virtual, that you try to still have some of that schedule and some of those things in place. So, try to do the same things that you're doing on the days that you have to actually go into the school building if you are doing virtual learning that day. So I also just want to add that for those of you who are feeling some of these really big feelings, know that you're not alone, and that there are so many people who care about you and that they want to support you as we start this school year. So if you are in a place where you're still kind of feeling icky, you're not really sure what's going on, there are going to be a lot of really great resources that we talk about tonight. So feel free to take some notes. Feel free to talk to your teachers next week about some of these things, because we just want you to know that all of us here tonight that are going to be sharing information with you are here to support you, and we know that you are going to do such a great job as we start the school year next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. I really appreciate you bringing up those points. And I think there were a couple of really, really good ones in there that we need to remember. I think as far as maybe setting ourselves up to do our best is, again, that routine, like Tricia had mentioned. Maybe you're going to be in school. Maybe you're going to be at home doing virtual learning. And both options are really great, right? It's what's best for you and for your family. But right now, still, while there's, a few days left in this week, how great to kind of set yourself up to do well by making a routine. We really thrive when we have that routine. So thank you, Tricia, for doing that. But knowing that if that routine isn't working for you, to say, hey, wait a minute, what can I change? What can I talk to my teacher about? What can I talk to my parent or my family member, my loved ones, to kind of shake it up or switch it up so that way it is set up for me to do my best. So know that that's an option, and just keep the lines of communication open between the people who are there to help you. I know they're there. They're just waiting for you to say something if you need them. Another great thing Tricia mentioned was checking in with yourself and really trying to say, hey, how am I doing today? And think back to this panel, think back to our back to school website. These are all things we're going to talk about, but say, if I'm feeling this way, I know there's a couple of places, there's a couple of resources, and there are a couple of things that I can do to kind of flip how I'm feeling or check in with myself. So again, you can set yourself up to feel the very best you can. And if you're not, know that it's normal. Know that we're all feeling these kind of crazy mix of emotions, and that there are many people here that can help you, and we're going to show you who they are. So with that said, panelists, is there anybody else who wants to mention anything about other helpful tips as we ease into the 2021 year? Yes, Maddie.
I just have one little piece of advice. I know that you talked about the schedule and like having a routine as you go into the year. And I think it's just important to remember that like this routine and this schedule is going to be totally different than what you've had before, but that it's just temporary, and that you just got to do what you got to do right now, and that you can get back to what you were doing before and just kind of work with what you have right now. I think that will be very helpful. Just know this is temporary.
Yes, I love that it is temporary, and to remain present, right? It's like, what do I have to do right in this moment to do my best or to get me through, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome advice, Maddie. Thanks for jumping in there. We're going to move on with the second topic item, and that is, how do I include pieces of social emotional learning? So first, what is that? What is social emotional learning? How does including it in my day set me up to kind of be my best self? And then how do I kind of use pieces of kindness to keep myself feeling well, and then looking for that in others? So to help us with that is Erin. Erin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. So social emotional learning really deals with our understanding of emotions. So not only our own emotions and how we're feeling, but also other people's emotions around us. And then what do we do with them? So if you're having a not so great day and you're feeling kind of down, how do you work with those emotions to maybe get yourself in a better place? Or if you're having a really awesome day and you have lots of energy and you're really excited about something, how can you express or communicate those emotions in a way that is still making good choices, and a good way to communicate that without putting yourself in a bad position. So we're constantly learning skills about social emotional learning. I'm sure you guys have covered this in school and in classes. You're probably also doing it at home with parents or siblings or friends checking in with you. How are you feeling? You know, if you're having kind of a crummy day, they might ask you if everything is okay, or if you need to talk, or being really excited for you when something is going really well. So with that, some things to keep in mind that might be really helpful for you when you are going to school this year, whether it's virtually or face-to-face, is to maybe check in with yourself a couple times a day. So the kids that I work with, so I'm also a therapist, and one of the things that I tell some of my kids to do is to pretend almost like you have a scanner. So like you have an MRI or a CT scan, and it's scanning your body, and to see how you're feeling at that moment. So sometimes when we're really excited, we can feel that in certain parts of our body, or sometimes when we're sad, we feel that in other parts of our body, and it feels differently. Not only that, but we behave differently, and so just being aware of that, and then being able to communicate that or to do something about it in order to help yourself feel in a good place. So especially with the pandemic going on, and being at the ages that you're at, where your brains are developing, being isolated is really challenging because of where your brain is developing. It's so important to make connections with friends, and that's probably why you want to reach out to friends and spend time with friends, and maybe miss your friends if you haven't had that opportunity to do that. And so if you don't have the opportunity to do that, sometimes that could lead to feeling isolated, and possible depression, and feeling sad or upset or angry about it. So again, just being aware of your feelings in that moment, and then maybe doing some things, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, on how to bring that to a better spot. If there's any parents that are checked in as well tonight, that's a conversation that you could also have at home. So identifying with each other, like how you're feeling today. If you had a really crummy night of sleep, maybe you didn't sleep so well, so you woke up this morning feeling tired and not having as much energy. Or maybe you got a really good night's sleep and a power breakfast, and you're ready to go, and you have lots of energy, and you're feeling in a really great place. So also being able to communicate that, and even noticing it or identifying it in other people. Wow, looks like you're really happy today. Tell me what's going on. So to be able to identify that in other people might be really helpful as well. For those of you older teens and young adults who are in college, just to also be really mindful and careful of what you're exposing yourselves to. So watching the news, social media, things like that, that can also impact your mood and how well you stay regulated during that time too. So being able to balance that out and expose yourself to positive things, in addition to educating yourself in what's going on in the world as well.
Really great points, Erin. Thanks so much. There were some really great points there, and one of them being loneliness, right? And the isolation impact. And from the screening tools that MHA has, we know that over 70% of teens and young adults agree with you that they were feeling, isolated or very lonely over the last few months. And 80 to 90% of them also identified that they were maybe feeling anxious about the way the world was working right now, or maybe feeling extra sad. And so again, like Erin had said, you're not alone in that, and there are several things and resources for you, and we're going to talk about those later. So we just want you to know that, again, you're not alone. There are people, there are things for you. We're certainly here for you. Reach out to MHA if you ever just need something or a direction, a finger point on where to start your journey to wellness. We're here for you. And that socializing is very important. And that looks really different right now. We totally understand that. Everybody has their comfort level. And so there are some really great ways for you to say, hey, how do I do that in a comfortable way? One of them is with Libby. I'm sure she'll talk a little bit about what you can find on their website for public health. There's a really great document online that talks about socializing in a healthy manner. And that's on our back to school website. Rachel can post that in our chat group right now, but she's also going to show you where to find it and how to get to it later on. So thanks, Erin, for bringing those points up. I really appreciate it. Anybody else have anything that they would like to quickly add before we move on to the third topic item? Okay, sounds good. Then we're going to move right along. Third topic item is going to be covered by Frank Simak. Again, he is a local therapist who helps out in the school systems and in the community. And he's going to just talk a little bit about warning signs and symptoms specifically to mental health. And, what should we be looking for as far as normal stress, etc. So Frank, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. I think this is going to be a very unique year, going through these new experiences and kind of more or less everyone taking the approach of like powering through. I need to get through this. I need to learn as quickly as I can. And sometimes when we go through that, we kind of forget what we're experiencing in the moment. So what everyone experiences, and this panel has experienced it a lot this week, is stress. And stress is really how our body reacts to physical, mental, or emotional responses. Stress affects everyone, and not all stress is bad. But when that stress is persistent and it kind of gets in the way of our days, where it helps us, or harms us as far as our focus, our difficulty managing emotions, we may be short or having issues communicating with our friends or family, or if we start to isolate from people. And we might feel stress differently from different people. We might have headaches, our chest might be heavy, we might be feeling tired, we might have an upset stomach, we might have difficulty sleeping. And when we go through this, because this is a shared experience that everyone goes through, share it, talk to someone, mom, dad, family, teachers, school social worker, guidance counselor. There's people there who are trained and ready to help you. At the schools, we have the PATH program in all the schools in Sheboygan County. And what that is, it's got mental health therapists in the schools there to meet with you, to talk about whatever you're going through and experience, and help you, give you the tools and skills to not let that stuff interfere with your daily responsibilities. If whatever your circumstances, that you're completely virtual, or if you're a high schooler taking college classes or in college, there's many different opportunities right now through telehealth, many different community counseling clinics that are available that have been really on the forefront of giving young adults the tools necessary, and very flexible scheduling. So whatever is going on in your life, there is someone there to match with you and to help you through that. And just remember, you're going to make mistakes this year. Everyone's going to make mistakes. I've made about 6 today so far, but it's just about how to manage those with, our kindness and just to be patient with ourselves, because we're all human.
Thanks, Frank. Couple of things I want to remind everyone about that Frank had mentioned. If you are having some, multiple sad days in a row, or you're feeling a lot of anxiety and you're recognizing this in yourself, or a friend might say, hey, you're just not yourself the last few days. Is everything okay? And you go, wait a minute, I don't know that it is. Again, in the Sheboygan area, in the county, we have PATH program. I'm the PATH coordinator, so you can always reach out to Mental Health America, myself and my team at MHA. We can get you connected with who you need to at your school to get you set up to see someone during your day, or virtually if you're at home. So no worries there. And if they're filled up at your school, we at MHA, that's part of what we do. So we help you and your family find someone in the area that works best for you and your family and your situation. So again, it's, hey, can we please call Mental Health America? We have a mental health resource specialist, but any one of these team members here, we help multiple times a day. So give us a call. That's what we're here for. Same thing with college though. Frank hit it right on the head. There's telehealth options. Again, give us a call. This is how I'm feeling. This is kind of my situation. We'll direct you to where you can go to get some help. And then another thing, if you're feeling stressed, there's several things, especially in college as well, or senior year, you're about to go to college, maybe you're just having some anxieties. Mindfulness really helped me. We're going to talk about where you can find those resources. I remember it showing up with chest pain when I was in school, senior year into college. So again, mindfulness, there's a few other things we can do. And there are some good things about stress. Sometimes it was like, I'm sick, I can't do it. That means I can't do it. I'm sweaty, I don't feel right. But that's our body telling us, hey, I'm getting you amped up to do your best thing today. I'm getting you pumped to do your best self. So by reformatting that in our brain, we can say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't so bad. This is me getting pumped up to be great. There's a really great video. We can post it. Maybe Rachel throughout the next few minutes can find it. If not, it's on YouTube. It's called How to Make Stress Your Friend. Kelly is her name who talks about it. Really great video on YouTube. I suggest taking a look at that. So anybody else have anything they want to comment as far as normal stress or warning signs and symptoms?
I was just going to add that if you are feeling some of these tough emotions and maybe you aren't quite sure what exactly you're feeling, we do also have screening tools available on our website and in our Back to School Kit online. And the majority of the people who go online and take these online mental health screens are actually youth. Most of the people are 24 or under who take these. And it's just a really great way. They'll kind of walk you through and ask you different questions about different signs and symptoms of depression or anxiety or, whatever it might be that you're kind of worried about. And then it will give you a couple tips and pointers when you're done, and share a couple more resources with you. And that's a really great tool for you to then take with you as you go, talk to a parent or guardian or a teacher or, a guidance counselor, whoever it might be. Or, if you're at college, a lot of college campuses have clinics or, different counseling programs and things like that. So definitely, if you're feeling like, I'm not really quite sure, maybe I'm not ready to quite talk to somebody yet, go online and take one of those screens and just get a little bit more insight into some of the things that you might be feeling.
Thank you, Tricia. And Rachel is going to show where to go to take that screen on our Back to School website. And again, you're not alone. 11,000 teens and young adults took this screen since March of this year when all of these shenanigans started happening. So you're not alone. People were like, how am I feeling? What's going on with me? I just want to find out a little bit more. 11,000 people in our nation did the same very thing. So you can do that today if it's something you think you need to do. Thank you so much, Tricia. That was really helpful insight. Okay. I think we will move on then, because this is a really important topic. It's what's going to help us to feel our best selves when and if we're kind of hitting that point of not maybe feeling our greatest. So fourth topic, keeping ourselves, the people around us, feeling healthy, mind, body, our whole being. And to help us start that conversation, again, is Tricia Erpelding, our education coordinator, but then Maddie Green, who just graduated and is now going into college. She's going to help share some tips and tricks that she did and does as a student to maybe set herself up, self-care, and to check in with herself. So thanks so much, Tricia, for getting us started.
Absolutely. So here at MHA, we love to practice mindfulness and to try and really practice a lot of good self-care as a team as well. And when we talk about self-care, that means that we are taking care of ourselves. So we're eating well, we're getting enough sleep, we're setting routines for ourselves, setting good boundaries for ourselves. And all of those things will help us to not only feel healthy physically, but mentally as well. it's also really important for us to make sure that we are handling our stress in these moments as we're feeling stress. And the really great thing about mindfulness is that it allows us to pay attention on purpose to how we're feeling. And we know how we're feeling as we're feeling it. And we can think about what we're thinking as we're thinking it. And it's a really powerful tool, because sometimes we maybe feel a certain way and we're not sure why, or we're thinking a certain thing over and over and over and over and over again. So being able to, be mindful and kind of take that step back and, think about, why am I feeling this way? And, what's going on, can be really, really helpful to us. It's also really important for us to acknowledge our emotions, because we all have so many of them as we're starting this school year. And a really great tool that I like to use is the hand-brain model. So what that looks like is, we've got our hand here. This thumb here is a part of the brain called the amygdala. That can be kind of hard to remember how to say. So we'll often just call this the alarm part of the brain. And alarms let us know when there's danger. So this is the part of the brain that really allows us to handle our stress. Sometimes we might handle our stress in a positive way. So we think about, if a fire alarm goes off in your school building, you know that you need to, quietly line up and follow your teacher out of the building. And this part of the brain can also kind of go off. The alarm can go off if we're feeling really stressed, really anxious, really, frustrated, concerned, whatever it might be. But the good news is that we also have this part of the brain that kind of covers up that alarm. And this part of the brain is a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, which is also a mouthful, really hard to say and remember. So we just like to call this part of the brain the boss. So you think about, kind of what this might look like as we're going through the day. This boss part of the brain is the part of the brain that allows you to pay attention, focus, be a good student, listen, sit, do your homework, make good choices, think clearly, all those important things that we need to do. So you think about, you might be feeling really stressed about the start of the school year. And even though, you have the best intentions to think clearly and to make good choices, you flip your lid a little bit. And that boss part of the brain shuts off. It's kind of like Wi-Fi. Like the Wi-Fi shuts off and just it's chaos because that alarm is going off. You can't connect to that part of the brain that is really helpful in helping you make those good decisions. So how can we turn that Wi-Fi back on? What can we do? We can take that break. We can take a deep breath. We can get up and get a drink of water. If, maybe we started our day, we were feeling really great. You're like, oh, I'm not even, nothing's worrying me. And then all of a sudden, maybe you flip your lid because somebody, teases you in the hallway, or you see somebody who maybe isn't, following the rules as much as they should be, or, whatever happens, you get in an argument with your friend. That lid flips. And it can be really hard for us to make those good choices and do all of those things that we need to do. So in those moments, maybe we decide, I'm going to walk away from that friend. I'm going to go get a drink of water. I'm going to take a really nice deep breath. And I'm going to start to feel better. I'm going to think about, the good things that are going on. I'm going to give myself some breaks. I'm going to take care of myself. And eventually, that part of the brain that we need, that boss part of the brain, that prefrontal cortex right here behind our forehead, is going to help us to kind of calm down a little bit. So just by noticing, how am I feeling? What's going on right now? We're able to kind of name some of those feelings and notice those emotions, and it helps us to work through them a little bit better and to feel a little bit more comfortable with some of those uncomfy things that we might have going on.
Thank you, Trisha. I think that's a really important visual reminder of the different things that are happening, why we're feeling what we're feeling, what's going on maybe in our outside world to kind of cause us to feel that way, or even our inside world. So again, it could be, last year, even an upcoming test. I had kind of bad test anxiety. Before I knew mindfulness, before I practiced it, I was taking tests here. And what Trisha just said is I'm not accessing the part of my brain where I'm kind of thinking clearly, working better with others, you know, maybe able to take the test in a different mindset. So had I learned some of these social emotional tools, mindfulness, some things Maddie's maybe going to talk about, I could have taken some deep breaths, gotten a drink of water, set myself up to say, whew, when this happens, I know what I'm feeling. I have a tight chest. I get sweaty somewhere, whatever it might be. And I could have paused and done those techniques to put myself back here to feel better. So it could be tests. It could be the way the school year is looking this year. It could be not seeing friends or anything that makes you just feel uneasy. But again, there's some really great resources and tools. We have them on the website, mhasheboygan.org/back-to-school. And Rachel will post that in the chat room, but you can find them on there. We'll show you where later. But let's check in with Maddie because she probably has some great tips and tricks as well that she does to kind of feel her best self. Maddie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Just speaking as like a former high school student and like new college student, I think stress is a really real thing. And there's just so many ways that you can, you know, get stuck in your head and just feel like you've got so much to do, especially in high school. There's so many more opportunities, and even college, there's just so much, you know, there's so much you could be doing and you want to be doing, and you feel like you're like not doing enough of something, and it just all kind of builds up. And I think over the past few years, I've definitely figured out what works best for me. It didn't, you know, it wasn't easy at first. It definitely took a little experimenting, but I think the key thing that my mom's always told me is sleep. I think that's one of the most important things. Having a schedule, going to bed early, even if you didn't quite everything you just like remembering that your solid like 8 hours of sleep is really, really important if you can get that. I've just noticed that it helps me just physically, mentally. It's a really important thing. So just remember that. And then for me, exercise is a big thing. I've been super involved in the yoga community, and I personally love it and enjoy running. I know that that's not for everybody, but you can kind of figure out your little thing that, you know, takes your mind off of what you need to do later, take a little break, and then come back to whatever you were doing, just feeling refreshed. And for me, that's running, just getting out of the house for a little bit. Yeah. And then the third thing that I think is really important is there's knowledge that and you know, maybe your reward or come back to that later, but you don't always have to be, you know, around all that stimulation. Just do what's best for you at that moment. And yeah, I think those were the three like main things that I really found super helpful. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. Just yeah, you kind of gotta like, you know, find what works best for you and set yourself up for success, I think. And it takes a little bit of experimenting, but that's what I found works best.
Awesome, Maddie. Thank you. And again, sleep, we hadn't really mentioned that, and it is super important. And I've been there, right? Where you're like, but I didn't finish everything. I'm going to stay up till whatever wee hours in the morning to finish it. But then the next day we're completely shot. And so to say, you know what, I'm going to get my 8 hours, and then the first thing in the morning, I'm going to hit the ground running when I'm feeling a little bit better to do that, right? Or you can always connect with your teachers, right? Or your parents or your loved ones to say, clearly maybe something's going on because I'm feeling overwhelmed, or my routine or my schedule is not working. Can you help me figure that out? Right, Maddie? So.
Yeah. And I think another thing is you don't have to do, I'm one of those people that really likes to do a lot. And I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like that. And you don't have to do everything underneath the sun. Like there's plenty, you can kind of, you know, experiment here and there, but just find what you're really passionate about and then stick to that. And just, yeah.
I love that. Thank you. And exercise and it can
be the third thing that you said, Maddie. Was that broken up for anybody else?
Oh, sorry.
Her third topic, just the first piece.
I was just talking about technology and how it's so stimulating, and you just sometimes got to put it aside and do your thing and then get back to it later. It's kind of hard because we're all living in that world where it's just, there's constant stimulation and things going around, and you can just like see whatever everybody else is doing. You wish you were there, you wish you were here, but just kind of stick to yourself, do what you need to do, and then check in with that later.
Maybe that's a scheduled moment, right? Like,
Yes.
hey,
Yeah.
you know, from this time in the morning or in the evening or whatever it is, I'm just going to kind of set it aside, take a step
Yep.
back from it. So I think that's really great, especially with the way we're living right now. And you had mentioned exercise, and I think it can look different for everyone, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
Rachel's going to talk a little bit about some of that yoga community and some offerings that we have for teens, young adults. But it could be taking a walk. It could be as simple as, you know, taking a loop around a corridor or the hallways outside. But when we get even just a little bit of exercise, we raise some like feel-good chemicals that are like our happy chemicals. And there's science behind that. It helps us lower our stress chemicals. So if you're feeling really stressed out, even a nice like brisk walk or something midday or during a transition time might help you to kind of boost that happy that you need or lower some of those sad emotions that you've got going on. So I think that was really, really great that you brought that up, Maddie. I really appreciate that. So speaking of some of that, I'm going to pass it off to Rachel really quickly, and then we'll check in with Libby. What does she do? What do they have on their website? So Rachel, if you just want to take everyone to our resource page and then talk about the cool things you do to feel better and what you offer.
So we're going to go to our website, and some of the events that I'm involved with sharing in the community are outdoor yoga. And so it kind of combines the mental health benefits you get from being in nature, as well as the yoga benefits, which is a mindful exercise. So you're practicing being calmer, and you're focusing, and again, you're doing deep breathing. And so that's really great to relieve stress. So those you can always check our website for our events that are coming up. There's tons of great fitness studios in the area. And of course, if you're in college or somewhere else, you know, there's fitness centers there. But even just remembering to get out in nature, that can be one of the best ways to kind of keep our mind fresh and help us feel a little bit better. So we have a back to school website that we put together, and there is both a K through 12 student section and a college student section that you can come to, or you can show your parents and they can go to as well. We've got some offerings coming up. This is our college student one. We're going to be I'm probably going to ask Maddie see if she's got any good ideas that she wants to put on here. But there's lots of, we've got some, even our playlist on YouTube, we put lots of cool videos on. And we'll put some different apps. I know we all love using our phone apps. So there's great apps that you can follow for stress relief. One of my kind of favorite weird ones is watching slime videos. It's the strangely satisfying, just kind of like watching like something really soothing and calm. Actually is mindfulness, because you're focusing on one thing. It's kind of getting you away from your stressful thoughts. So there are lots of great apps that we'll put on here. Here's another one, Not Okay app. This can be something where if you're feeling a little like you don't want to talk to someone in person, this actually sets you up for talking with, you know, just a real quick message. It can be real quick and easy. So we can take advantage of our technology for helpful things. So you can check those sites out. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and pass it on. So thanks again.
Yes, and just like Rachel clicked on the college setting, if you're K through 12, you can click on there. And we have in the mindfulness section something called a mindful fall. And those are different. We were talking about mindfulness. Well, what the heck is it? What are some activities I can do? You can click into that little packet that's coming soon. You can print them. You can go through online, but there's some really great activities there that can help you go from here to here as you're starting that practice. So Libby, I'm just gonna have you again introduce what you do and maybe what some of the things on your website can do to help students during this time.
Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm joined by a bunch of wonderful community colleagues of mine that are all in the mental health realm. And I work for the health department in Sheboygan County. So One of the things that I wanted to mention that I think is really, really important, and I know Maddie had touched on it and Erin had touched on it, we all touched on it a little bit, is kind of the overload of information that we're all getting right now. There's so many things happening, and one of the things that I work to do as the public information officer at the health department is make sure that there's credible information that's really clear and concise. You know, there's so many different things you're seeing on social media and reading, specifically the fact that this is a novel virus. So when we look at COVID, it's something that we're learning new things about every single day. And that overload of information can be really overwhelming. So on our website, the Sheboygan County, it's just sheboygancounty.com, we have an entire COVID subpage, and there we try to put together frequently asked questions, resources. Specifically, we've been working with all of the districts and the school systems within Sheboygan County, the school nurses, all of your principals and administrators and superintendents, to really provide some clear, concise information related to where you can find the resources you're looking for, questions you might have. And then, of course, if you ever have any disease-specific questions, it's really, really important that you lean into credible sources. Again, there's so much information out there. And, you know, as Maddie mentioned, it's okay to take a break. You know, it's okay to just put that all away for a little bit. But when you do decide to educate yourself and get that information, both parents and students, it's really important that you lean into that credible information and not, you know, invest too much and dig too much into the rumor mill and some of that misinformation. So through the health department, we have, again, been working really hard to put some comprehensive information together for all of you. Just for time's sake, I won't bring that up, but it's really easy to find. It's sheboygancounty.com, and there's a whole subpage there. There's an entire school-related resources section that has all the answers that you might need related to definitions for close contact, what that contact tracing and investigation process would look like. If you have questions specific to disease prevention and mitigation, all of that is right there on the website for you to get the most up-to-date, credible information for when you do kind of want to have that screen time and educate yourself. Also, if you ever have any questions, myself and my team try to make ourselves really available to all of you. So you can call our health department at 920-459-0321. That's our hotline number. Or you can send us an email at public.health@sheboygancounty.com. We monitor that on a pretty frequent basis and try to get back to you with any question you might have as soon as we can.
Thank you so much, Libby. And I couldn't agree more. There is a ton of information, even for folks who maybe say, I think I know where to find the right information. And even then, it's difficult. So to have your team available and have things listed on your website is an extreme help for our community and beyond. So thank you so much for all the work you do. That is all that we are going to go through this evening. We do have check-in dates coming in October, so you're welcome back. And there are wellness circles for those of you who are in college happening in September, so check those out on the website. I'm going to hand this off to Julie, but panelists, thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you, Brianna, for moderating this evening. Thank you to the entire panel. Thank you to our partners for putting this on this evening, and to the United Way. Most of all, thank you for tuning in and watching this. As you know, we have a host of information and resources for you. Be well and be kind to yourself as you head into the new school year. Thank you.